This is Denali. If you remember, I did a video of him the other day. And he was really nice until I started putting a little pressure on him. And when I started putting pressure on him, he got pretty aggressive towards me and tried to run me over. So we're trying to work through that. He needs to be working towards learning some skills that will be needed when he's being ridden. So I'm teaching those skills to work through the issues that we're having with his aggression on the ground when things start to feel like work. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start with lunging him a little bit, get his feet moving, and then we're going to build on that lunging. Okay, so let's get started by asking him to move his feet. Don't have to move fast, but he needs to move his feet. Remember in the last video, I worked a lot on ask-tell demand. I'm going to pay particular attention to that. This horse tries to tell me no. He wants to make sure that I am really insistent on my ask. His behavior is actually pretty common for a stud colt. See right there when I pull the rope back, he tried to attack it. He didn't jump away, he went to it. That is kind of his response when he doesn't like something, is to basically go at it, attack it, just like he did at the end of that rope. So we have to work through that, make him a nice, safe horse, and in the process, teach him some life skills that he's going to need. Remember, I'm staying very consistent with my ask-tell demand. This horse really needs structure. My hand is ask, swatting the ground is tell, and I'll swat him at the hocks if I need to for demand. Don't want to go to that if I can help it, but whether I do or not is his decision, not mine. If he'll do what I ask, I won't have to escalate anymore. Right there, I'm smooching to send him that way. See how he's trying to tell me no? Tell, tell, tell. That rearing is not acceptable. He was trying to not do what I was asking, was just to turn and go the other way. Not going to accept unacceptable behavior. At this point, if I ask him to turn his nose and he rears up, it's not a big deal. But he becomes a saddle horse and you're riding him and you ask him to turn his nose and he rears up, it is a big deal. That has to be stopped now before it's a big problem, before it's dangerous. It's dangerous now, just not to the level that it will be when somebody's on his back. There we go. Now we're getting a little bit better. Change directions one more time. Good, I'll accept that. That was a nice effort to stop, nice effort to turn and depart. Good boy. Good boy. See his head to the outside? I'm not sending him anywhere, but his effort to tell me no, in his effort to tell me no, he's missing the release for the pressure. Reward you. There we go. Good boy. Pay attention. When you're good, I'll give you a reward. We'll take the pressure away. So the next thing that I want to do with him, you noticed a minute ago when I pulled his head, he reared up. We're going to work on him not rearing up when I pull his head, and also teach him to follow his nose. He's going to need that when he's a saddle horse. So we're going to use teaching him what he's going to need as a saddle horse to work on not rearing up when he turns his head. If you saw the first video I did of him, he did that several times. Here I just want to make sure he doesn't panic when the rope touches him. He was already pretty sacked out when he came. Whoever had him before me did a lot of that work with him, which is nice. But I need him to put effort into moving, not just stand still and not be scared. He has to learn the tools that he's going to need as a saddle horse, all those tools, not just to be sacked out. So the first thing I'm going to ask him to do, I'm going to throw this rope and see how he reacts to it. I'm thinking he's probably going to be okay with it. He generally doesn't worry about too much. Throw it over his back. This is where we start working on following his nose. What I'm asking him to do here is not going to be that hard, but he needs to engage his brain and not rear up. Put a little pressure. Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Let's do that again, same direction. Everything I do here, flipping the rope, throwing the rope over him, I do it just as if he's had this done 100 times, even though he's only had this done a couple times. If you don't ever treat a horse like they're broke, they'll never become broke. Right there when he was turning around and had his butt to me, I'm going to make sure I'm far enough away that I'm outside kicking distance. Now let's go the other way. I think this is the other way. Put a little pressure. Now I can tick to him. He really don't understand tick just yet. But generally, if I just kind of hold them in what would be a little bit of an uncomfortable bend, they're going to want to make that bend easier. Now here he's backing up. I really want him to walk forward around like before. There we go. So I just kept moving my feet to keep him in that position until he did the response that I wanted him to do. Then I reward him for the response. Let's do that side one more time. Keep stepping to the right until he figures out he needs to go forward. If I stay there, if I stay to my left, if I don't step to the right, he's eventually going to back around into position. There, I want him to go forward into that turn. Good boy, good boy. Okay, so now that I have some turn, we're going to start long lining him. Teach him to steer going forward. This is skills that he needs to know under saddle. This is going to put what I'm asking him to do into practice. I'll put a link to this halter. I really like this halter. with this ring underneath. With that ring, as I pull, the ring comes and it doesn't twist the halter back and forth. The ring pulls. I really like that halter, that style. So he knows how to lunge. He knows how to turn and follow his nose. We're going to start putting those two things together. I'm going to ask him to turn. There we go, and go forward. I'm using the end of the line in my left hand like a lunge whip to add a little bit of forward. Let's turn to the left. I'll let the right rein slide through my hand. I need more forward. The forward is why he's putting his head down. He don't have enough forward. What I'll do, I'll give him a little tap with the outside rein to add a little forward. Don't want to tap it hard. I don't want him to get to the point where he's afraid of it, but he needs to go forward. This is very much like long lining with a surf single or a saddle, but I do it this way intentionally. See how he stepped through that line? Now it's running between his front feet. Let's let him get in a little bit of a bind, and let's see what happens. I want to teach him to long line, but I also want to teach him not to panic when he gets in a bind. There we go. So I got a little bit of pressure on his back legs. Good boy. And we're going to go help him out, get him out of that bind. These skills, like that right there, he learns to not fight pressure, not fight when he gets in a bind, and wait for a person to come help him out. Kind of similar if you was to teach a horse to be hobbled, to not fight the hobbles. That's why I like to do this, ground driving like this. Not with a surf single or running through saddle stirrups. I like to do it this way. If the horse goes forward and I hold my reins correctly, I can keep them in a good place. Big key is he needs to maintain forward, which I have talked before. If I don't have forward, I don't have steering, and can't teach many things steering related without forward. Now, I talked about ass, tail, and demand when I was lunging. Now I'm going to talk about ass, tail, and demand from this point of view. My smooch is going to be my ass. My tail is going to be giving him a pop with the rein, with the long line. And then my demand would be pick up the end and then pop him on the hip. Good boy. Every time he puts his head down, I'm going to send him forward. Needs to go forward. Good boy. Let's turn the back to the left. Good boy. He's following his nose pretty nice. Not going to accept putting his head down. I want him to put his head in just what would be, there, he walked forward on the smooch. I want him to put his head in what would just be a relaxed position to walk, which is about where he has it here. I went a little harder with the demand there, with the tail, because I need to break that habit of him putting his head down. He needs to just walk on. Every time he puts his head down, that's him saying, I don't really respect you, I'm going to do what I want. We need to walk on and do what I ask him to do. There we go. Good boy. Good boy. Let's turn back to the left. Turn back to the left. Good boy. Ignore that horse. Good boy. That's something else we have to have when we're under saddle. We're riding with a group of horses. He has to go where I ask him to go and ignore any other horses. I could move that horse, but that's a good teaching opportunity. He's trying to turn to me there, so I put a little pressure with the right rein, keep him going straight. Good boy. I need more forward. Forward. Good boy. Forward. Good boy. Really don't like slapping him this much, but he showed me in the first video that this, what he's doing right here, is the first step into trying to run me over. So I have to take a proactive stance to let him know that as long as you do what I ask, everything's going to be nice and easy. Good boy. Just walk. I'm not asking for it to be that hard. This isn't that hard. Good boy. Don't put your head down. Good boy. Good boy. We have to have go. Now, you generally have two types of horses that you work with. What I call stoppy horses and goey horses. He's what I would call a stoppy horse. I have to keep sending him forward. If I have a horse with a lot of go, and say he just starts trotting off, I just hold my inside rein, let the outside rein slide through my hand, and we basically go into lunging until I get the brain back to me to slow back down. He's just the opposite. I have to keep telling him to go. Neither is any better or worse to work with. I think in a lot of ways, a horse that wants to stop is harder to work with, because this is real easy to let him stop. Right there, he wanted to turn to me. He's looking for the stop. Be real easy to give in and not tell him to go. And by doing that, he has taken over the control. Good boy. I asked what my smoochie went on. Long as I stick to my ass tail demand, he will not get afraid of any reprimand. Come on. Because he'll understand the structure. Let's turn to the left. Right there, I just kind of lost his attention a little bit. I don't think he was trying to be maliciously bad. He saw that bucket and just kind of forgot what he was doing. That happens. It's not a big deal. Let's turn back to the right. Good boy. So let's see what we have for stop. Whoa. 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 Good boy. Good boy. Good boy. So I'm going to stop on that for him today. I'll keep continuing his progress as far as working with his willingness to do what's asked and building towards the skills that he needs when he's under saddle. So this is Denali. Until next time, thank you for watching.